Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. In the last episode, we reached the end of August 1941. We took care of a lot of the tertiary fronts on the Russian front, took care of Ethiopia and Italy. I got a comment pointing out to me that this unit here is out of supply, which it is, meaning my garrison, who I now wish had higher infantry weapons, but I couldn't really manage that in time, can attack and actually deal damage. So let's give that a shot, why don't we? Whew! 3 damage dealt by a garrison and none taken. Thank you for pointing that out, Avatar, I believe. Alright, let's look at this naval situation down here. A destroyer came down here, accidentally ran into our heavy cruisers last turn. Let's go up and try to just look for it. There it is. Enemy light cruiser, sorry, not a destroyer. I'm gonna attack it. The Perth light, this is from Australia. They brought this here all the way from Australia. I wonder when they did that or what route they took. They must have just come down around here at some point. Might have been when I was parked over here. They just got past me. Well, let's attack it. 5 damage dealt, none taken. And then move up next to it again. And voila, we finished off an enemy light cruiser. That's a decent bit of wins. I'll take that. And just stay here, continue raiding if you even can after you do an attack. I know some things get in the way of that. I don't know all the rules, like this one wasn't able to do any raiding, but it should be able to do that now. All of the other European naval stuff can wait for now. Let's look at Russia. This frontier, we had a lot of upgrading happen. We paused through most of August here to actually just get better equipment in, and now we're staring down at some upgraded units over here, especially around Orsha. There's an army in my way that could lead me towards Smolensk. Get through Smolensk and I can have several paths leading directly to Moscow, and I'm willing to bet most of their units are currently defending on the front. Now if I get close to Moscow, they may just operate back, but that's more money that they have to spend, so I don't really mind. I want to get this unit out of the way as easily as possible, so let's start with a bombing, why don't we? Okay, they don't have any escorts either. We dealt 1 damage, and it's lost a bunch of readiness and morale. We can have very good luck with the tanks. Not sure if I should use both bombers on this one target, because we might want to try to chew through Vitebsk, which an army at least will be able to reach. So I might save the other bomber. Yeah, it's mostly just going to be 1 army that would reach there, if any. But the tanks can easily chew through this right now, I'm willing to bet. Let's give it a shot. 4 damage dealt, none taken. 5 damage dealt. Okay, that actually worked out perfectly, because after you attack with a tank, it's not like you can move again anyway. And then we have corps that can get pretty far. We have an army. Everything can get roughly the same amount, except for like this one can get all the way over here. If we're going to move anyone up particularly far, I think it makes sense to maybe send a tank. This way we could see what's over by Smolensk. Also march through the town, take that. Alright, so there's an army on Smolensk. So, unfortunately the other bomber doesn't have range to bomb Smolensk. We'll have to move it up after. And this one actually has the range upgrades too. So taking Vitebsk, I'm sure I'm saying this all wrong, would be the best idea. Unfortunately, damn, they have a rail line going through Novgorod and, oh god, I'm probably butchering all of these, etc. going around. There's a swamp in the middle that would prevent my advance, but could make Vitebsk a good location for defensive placement and action for boxing in all this stuff and forcing it to either come at me or stay here or operate back out of here through this other path, which, I mean, it's just like teleportation, so what path they take doesn't matter. What matters the most is the fact that they would have to spend money rather than just simply getting to run directly at my lines. Speaking of, we have the Pripyat marshes here that leads towards Gomel, where we saw a tank slithering off to recently. We have some armies over there capable of investigating that area. I need to keep moving in that direction. Clearly, my speed is limited. I believe if I move this corps just up here, it will be able to recon and see this far into Gomel, so we know if anything's on the town waiting for us. Okay, so we are also in range of an enemy army on Gomel. which we would have been able to reach, but we would have been ambushed if we did reach it like that with these armies. So therefore, one of the armies might just want to start moving northeast generally, but they could also just generally move, kind of pile up a little in this direction and move a little further after. Ideally, we're going to push through Smolensk. We could break through at Gomel, push into Bryansk and all this stuff, leading up to Moscow, kind of reuniting with this stuff coming up this way, making one larger front. Take Vitebsk and use it as a defensive location against this line by Riga rather than pushing into it altogether, so that we have a wide, expansive push surrounding Moscow. Unfortunately, from the directions of their fortifications, but theoretically, if we hold them here long enough and they decide to stay there, we could advance up here towards Vyazma and then even further north and maybe somehow be able to wrap around. There's just too many rail lines here to really effectively cut it off. I'd have to take all the way up and surrounding like completely to actually cut it off from this massive rail network. But let's focus on what we can do. So 3rd Army, move forward. And we have an upgraded enemy 7th Army, but we are upgraded as well. I'm going to reinforce these paratroops. They're going to be a little defensive fixture. We do have another army coming around over here on the north side. I just need to get these corps out of the way. Ideally, I should also set up some other kind of defensive fixture by leaving, for example, a corps here or something. I could also just force march this one up to the front, land it right on Orsha, so it's just right up there. It would show up with some reduced readiness and morale if I did that, but it would show up a hell of a lot sooner, which is why I would be tempted to do it. Operating is not really an option. Supply isn't up here. This turn, it would be easiest to focus my efforts on Vitebsk. So if I had to break through any of these 2 points right now, it's going to be Vitebsk. So let's take the Africa Tactical Bombers, and oh my god, wait, they have anti-air. They have anti-air, and it's gonna hurt my bombers. Oh, anti-air, why? Anti-air, even just at level 1, is a huge counter to bombers, man. I noticed this over here in Egypt, and now I'm noticing it over here against the Russians. 1 upgrade into anti-air, man. They've definitely been upgrading their troops, which has me believing they're probably not spending as much on making new units. So let's see here. MPPs, there you go. So spent on units is going up, and constant. They're losing like crazy. Look at it, it's in like, each one of these is my turns. This is their turns. They're not losing a lot on their own turns, but when my turns come up, it's just like loss. Although we're killing less and less every turn, and their collected income is remaining pretty stationary. They're spending a lot of it on units. So we are taking land, but losing momentum. Good news is their national morale has been falling pretty well. Japan's is falling as well, unfortunately. And they did spend at some point a fuck ton, like well over 1,000, just getting a fuck ton of research going. Doesn't look like it was crazy long ago. Yeah, no, it's still 1941, March, and it was somewhere in between March and now. So yeah, that was pretty recent. I guess we're gonna have to just attack this starting with infantry. So I want to get this surrounded then, I suppose, by someone that needs to move. Let's send you, the 30th Corps, the XXX. And then this tank can actually move into one of these positions. So let's go ahead and move it right here. Now we're already cutting off this rail completely. So we've split it, so now they'd have to, like, keep this. They'd have to use this, meaning they can't just run down here anymore to assist. I will attack with this army. Let's use our advanced infantry weapons to make up for what our air force is lacking. 3 damage dealt, 1 taken. Okay, that was just as advertised. I'm happy with that. We can go 1-to-1, 1-to-3, 1-to-1 with a corps. Well, losing men off a corps is cheaper than losing men off of a bomber. And maybe even a tank. A tank is still a tank, though. The tank would get 2 attacks. That would be our big damage, though. If anything's going to, like, finish this off this turn, it's going to be the tank. So, let's try with the corps. This trading isn't too bad. This is an army. 1-to-1 with a corps is a pretty good trade. Or we could just suck and do nothing. 1-to-2, that's a bit more acceptable for a tactical bomber. Let's give it a shot. 2 damage dealt, 1 taken, just as advertised. Okay, I can accept that. Now we could try to... Oh, we'll definitely kill it with our tank. Okay. I was hoping maybe I'd be able to crit it or something. We took 2 damage. That's not actually very good. But we went ahead, we killed it. We sustained some damage, but we wiped out another army. 2 armies just like that, dead. And now we can definitely move a core up. Let's move this one. To claim this village for our own, take up a defensive location there. And now they can't really advance very easily. Our cores are very advanced. Any advance, even with a army, would not be the smartest. I will force march the first army down here. There's a big number to their morale and readiness, but it will recover, and it's fine. This is going to be a pretty mobile front. Just want to get them in position as soon as possible. I'll take the 8th army, and I'm going to move that into this marsh over here. Towards Gomel, along this river, which is a good defensive location for now. We'll move the 4th army forward, kind of shoring up this line, making a nice big push this turn. Taking 2 towns, pushing up towards Smolensk. And that will really allow me to spill into this big plain. We do need to move these tactical bombers so that they're closer to the things that they're going to be bombing. This one also doesn't have any big upgrades, so let's move that right here. Let's move this one more this way, so it's still well protected and in the middle of everything. We need to move our fighters forward as well. Not as much, however, but moving them up as well. So we don't need to really expect anybody coming up from here. That's fine. So I can move this one here, and it should be safe, or maybe, you know, let's just be even safer and move it right there instead. That might be smarter. Down in the south, we'll take this core, and we're going to move this up this way. Let's move it only up to here for now. Scout ahead. Okay, there is an enemy core at Konotop. We're going to need to push our lines forward. Let's move the Von Lieb HQ forward to Zitomir, which is going to theoretically help our supply up front at some point, maybe. The 6th Corps here is going to do some scouting. Alright, we can see there's enemy heavy tanks over at Kharkov, and nobody on Stalino. So this mine is undefended. There might be someone at Taganrog, but the thing about Soviet troops is they have to be really spread out, because there's not actually that many of them. We don't have capacity to really move very far this turn down here. We had a very offensive turn. We don't have all of our upgrades in yet. So we have to move with that in mind. I'll move this core up against Konotop. Oh, this is the weaker one. This is the one that ran away from me. I remember this. Okay. It's the only thing in range of this tactical bomber, so we're going to bomb the shit out of it. Oh, it has AA right next to it. Oh. Took 1 damage. Dealt 1 damage, okay. And there's a fighter next to it. That's a lot of vulnerable stuff over here. It really is. If this thing wasn't in my way, this tank would be able to go fuck both of these things up. And in fact, they're about to have to run away. Realistically, if they want to continue to operate here, they're not really going to be able to. Well, I can still do good damage to this, even with just a core, so let's do that. It's doing a blitz attack, by the way. Also, this had anti-air. So we bombed a core that had anti-air and had a defensive anti-air covering. No wonder. Amazing we only lost 1. I would have expected more losses. Nobody else is really capable of moving close enough to hit except this tank. Anybody else wouldn't have any upgrades on them like this core. I feel like this is just too good of an opportunity to not utilize. So we're going to have some attacks without any upgraded weapons. Like with the Slovakian core, that's going to move up. It's going to attack. And voila, we've wiped out that core completely. And now there's these things which are very vulnerable, and I have a tank that can hit them both, albeit one would have to be across a river. It's still a tank marching up and attacking otherwise very vulnerable things. Both of them, we could move up even more, actually. There's even more stuff we could do here, like with this army. I just don't know if I should put the army here or the tank here. I want to be able to attack as much as possible with the tank, to be honest. So let's move this core forward. Have it attack the anti-air. 2 damage dealt, none taken. Okay, that's with the blitz attack. Move the 10th army forward. It can't move very far. It has its upgrades already, so that's fine. The 14th army is just going to get its infantry weapon upgrades where it stands, so it's just going to be in like recovery mode. We will reinforce these tactical bombers here. Let's take the tank, move it up into the city. And I believe planes are way more expensive than anti-air, so 6 damage dealt, and it runs away like a little bitch. 3 damage dealt, and it runs away like a little bitch. Yep. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not moving an injured unit in front of tanks. Like, I've already moved this unit. I'm not moving an injured unit in front of tanks for, like, no reason. I will move this one up here, though, because it's gonna reunite up here and not stay down here. I just wanted it to scout what was over here by Stelino. The Southern Force is just gonna have a whole bunch of upgrades because they're all reinforced mostly. Get them upgraded for the next push on Kherson over to Sevastopol, Crimea, Rostov, all that junk. The Hungarian First Army needs actual reinforcements, though. Wow, that was a whole bunch of MPPs, and I'm not even done yet. We have this. We can't get normal reinforcements there because there's not enough supply there, but supply is spreading. Maybe not the best, though. Supply is 5 here. Moving up this soon probably wouldn't help. This won't be able to reinforce for a minute. Luckily, it's only a core. We're going to reinforce with these tactical bombers because we're not attacking on their side yet, so they can just go ahead and get, well, reinforced. We have another core here that can move out. I'm just going to shore up the front with it in the fields, probably. We don't need to worry about pushing up towards Gomel yet. We want to make a presence here that makes it so that this tank doesn't want to push on us. The paratroopers here at Cherkasy are going to upgrade infantry weapons. Oh, also long-range aircraft. The supply map's really weird right now. It's showing our supply is just going to get way worse in the area next turn for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Like, the whole front line is basically going to be supply-less. It looks really bad, and I'm really not sure why. Moving up shouldn't have much of an effect, because we're on the best places for supply hubs right now. With the exception of that Cherkasy might make a good spot, but we can't even reach that if we wanted to this turn, so it's not really an option. I'm going to move up both of the fighters around Cherkasy. There's nothing they could really push in this region to make this seem like a bad idea to me. The Hungarian HQ is going to have to move up at some point. It could be to, like, right here. Its supply isn't particularly important right now. Nothing it's doing. So move that up. Does that help supply projections at all? You know, it does a little bit. It does a little bit, but still not perfectly. It makes it look maybe a little less bleak in specific locations. I'm not sure what it is. We're just gonna have to, like, get the HQs up to Kiev and Cherkasy basically next turn. I feel a little limited with these HQs, so I'm tempted to put mobility on one of them. Because, like, this one's not going to be able to make it to Cherkasy. That's why he was not there this turn. I only have 432 MPPs, though, so I'm not really sure about doing that. That's pretty expensive. Although I've done pretty much my entire turn with the Germans, I believe there's not really much left to do as them. So I could allocate MPPs for that, sure, yeah. They have a bit of a mobile thing to do. I could also give him anti-air defense. I would like to get that on HQs eventually. They're weak targets, so they could be targeted by air. 113? On Kukler? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's give him both. It's a lot of MPPs, but hopefully it comes in handy. Speaking of MPPs, now we can kind of look over here at the naval portion. Full resupply reinforcement of this sub is 50 MPPs. 40 here, yeah, 10 per point at the moment. We're down to 229. It's pretty brutal. You know, one thing I've been wanting to do is sack the HQ leaders here. Like, this one's rating 7. I have 10, 9, and 8s available. But so many other things keep demanding my attention. Research and improving one front a little bit with one thing or another. And then, like, I could research right now, but then I wouldn't be able to reinforce everything or do anything else I want. And that thing I could do is I could get production technology researching to the next level. That would be really useful because that makes reinforcing cheaper. That makes building cheaper and saves me a lot of money in the long term, especially as Germany. I think I'll make that kind of my thing this turn. No sacking, replacing. We're going to go for the MPP savings with that research. We're going to reinforce the sub at St. Nazaire because ideally we want to get these subs going as soon as possible again to limit the amount of MPPs that the Brits have and that they can get places, because that is going to be a problematic affair. How should we do this? We could just naval cruise like we did last time. To the same spot pretty much as well. Let's just move you down here. Let's get you. and just send you up. You're not going to be able to raid this turn, but we'll still just send you up. So you're in the right place. I don't know how many subs I'm going to put on this point, quite frankly. Some of them are probably going to have to go around because I have 2 more available right now. One of them will go here at this port. The other one will go in the water somewhere. I guess right here is a fine enough spot. That's safe enough. I also have tanks that can deploy for Romania. Putting them on the road right there seems like a good idea. They need an upgrade, but that's another tank down here. It's one that will work off of the Romanian HQ, which is super handy. If I had the Hungarian one, that would be even better as well. But, you know, I kind of have to pick and choose. Pick and choose. And diplomacy and map access was kind of a big part of my plan for these hyper-specific targetings that I've been doing. We probably still have enough to operate. Yes, at least this tank. And where do I think this tank would be most useful? It could be useful here. This seems fairly undefended, you know, just rolling in with a second tank over here, you know, 2 pushing this way, 2 pushing from up here in the south. That could be handy. And get pretty close as well. I could also just put it over here and have 3 trying to break through, but I don't think that much is necessary. And this side could use some more manpower, especially fully upgraded manpower, especially given the situation over here. So yeah, let's send it down south to help with this one, the Africa Corps tank. The Africa Corps is getting all split up. That's 4 MPPs remaining, so the recon isn't quite going to be able to make it. There's really no point in running it, because unless I'm force marching every turn, I mean, even then, I'll be able to operate it sooner than it would ever get anywhere. I'm going to send the U-30 out without reinforcements, just in a straight line. Do some raiding over here, you know. It doesn't need elite reinforcements for that. And I want to free up a port here as soon as possible to fully reinforce the Axum sub. Full reinforcements first, elite reinforcements later. I will fully reinforce the Leonardo da Vinci sub. Looking at Japan's land situation here, we can go ahead and move somebody up. Let's make the North Chinese Front Army, they're a little more battle ready. Into this mine right here, we can get pretty good odds against anyone and everyone over here, and we can even get the assistance of some bombers due to our range. Not all the bombers, but the medium and TAC ones in the front can certainly assist. Just one of the other bombers will have to aim somewhere else, which is fine. That's totally fine. If we can weaken this army enough, we could also move up more forces. Right now we're limited due to the fact that the zone of control here is so strong. Nobody else can really advance as far as I would like. Let's go ahead and give it a shot with the medium bombers. See if we can lure out any fighters. There you go. There's the enemy interceptors. They've taken 3 damage. Make that 5 damage. And we've taken none. We've also dealt none, but we've weakened this army as I wanted to. Now, that's not enough to lower their zone of control fully. I could now hit them with a TAC bomber if I wanted to. With the mountains here, we might want to just bombard anyway. I actually ended up dealing 4 damage, and now I might be able to just one-shot the stack right now. I'll give it a shot. And there you go. 2 bombings, and we were able to kill that stack completely with the North Chinese Front Army doing a blitz attack after securing this mine south of Chongqing. This allows me to move only the 13th Army can get that far, claiming this industrial center of Kweichow for myself. I may as well attack this garrison while I still have good opportunity to do so, because supply is not really going to keep up over here from Changsha, apparently. It's going to fade off pretty badly. Maybe if I can... I was going to say, like, if I can secure this, but I don't believe I'll really be able to do that. I'll move the 3rd Army forward. There's nowhere else it can really get to, so it's just going to go down the road. This fortification is going to prove to be a little bit of a nuisance for me, because nothing can really get there right now. While I look at this front, I have to keep in mind that Thailand, I believe, is on a timer, a chance to join us pretty much every single turn now that we own Indochina. The moment they join, we have 2 new fronts to worry about. Against Burma and against, well, Malaya and into Singapore. I don't think that the Thailand army that we'll get is going to be very large, if it's going to be present at all. It's just going to be like a couple units tops. Not enough to cover all this. and definitely not as elite as anything else. So we might end up wanting to set some armies aside, and I'd say, oh hello, yes, armies specifically, because this is very small terrain. It's not a lot of maneuvering spaces, a lot of mountains, and you know, we can only do so much stacking up in one area here. To that end, I've kind of looked at it, and we have right now, this is 5 armies, this is 2, we have 1, 2, 3, we can have 5 here, let's say. If we got through this, 1 could go to either side, so it's like 6 and 6. And we have 2 more here and 1 here, so that's 3 that could go down and assist whatever forces Thailand has in securing all of this and opening up a new front and trying to maintain that on kind of equal footing on what we're going at China with. And we're going to be spread a bit more thin. We have a lot of powerful forces, and I have a paratrooper that's going to be ready to pretty much go and assist wherever is necessary. Not to mention the capability of naval landings to assist any front over here is definitely possible with the special forces. So to that extent, let's take the Indochina Expedition Army. We got the Korean Army as well. Oh man, I don't want to like break the theming. You know, I don't want to break the theming, but I guess we're gonna. Indochina Expedition will go... I guess that one could go elsewhere. We'll send Central Expedition forward. They're not in the central area anyway. What's our supply over here? I think it's good enough to operate, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just not good enough to operate 2, because we just took Guilin a moment ago. There's probably not a whole lot of point to trying to move through this area just yet, especially because we're going to be operating into Thailand specifically. So we'll just move this army, the Indochina army, to Guilin. So we have Korean, this one, 21st. 21st can go with the Indochina one, I think. Yeah, and then I can send Korean up with Central. Take the Takagi? I don't know. This HQ might also be going south at some point. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise, this one can definitely hang south and assist this front. Or that's what this one could be for. The one that I've had no idea what to do with this whole time. It could go down south to Thailand. Yeah, okay. Let's take Takagi here, just move him forward for now. We want to ideally spread supply here a little bit better upcoming. Yeah, it's a little bit better. This is in my way. I can't reach it yet, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Actually, this might just cause more problems because, like, I can't operate past here because of the supply. So if they join next turn, I don't even know if I can operate directly to there, but it doesn't have to be instant, you know, and it's fine. I have to put MPPs somewhere else. The Japanese everything is just widening to a point where it's getting kind of hard to manage. I'm going to have the remaining bomber go ahead and assist on this front where we can actually do some damage. Attack this core in the mountains. 2 damage dealt. Not so bad. Because, I mean, anyone here can attack in both directions, so it's a more versatile spot. Let's just keep dishing out damage that they have to heal through. 4 damage dealt. 1 taken. That's unfortunate. We have good supply in the area, so it's fine enough. I could fit someone here. Ooh. I don't know if I want to. The recovery wouldn't be the easiest. So we'll just swap back. Attack again. Whew. It was like 3 or 4 more damage. We got it from 10 to 8, and then we got it down to like 4, so probably like 3 more damage. It has 1 HP left. Ugh. And now it got away. Very sad. But we'll attack across here. 2 damage across the river, none taken. There you go. There's also this army just in the rear that I don't really know fully what to do with, but attack. 1 damage dealt, none taken. Only 1, wow. Not really as productive as I'd hoped. I'm going to reinforce this core fully, 25 MPPs to do that. For now it's fine, but we are getting new points that have partisans. We're going to need more garrisons than we have here soon. Or some cores are going to have to stay behind to kind of take care of these spots. And it's going to be an increasing need. There's only a couple more things to do. We'll finish handling Japan at the start of the next episode. We're out of time for right now, but there's a chance that I might just pull the gas off of putting so much points into Special Forces stuff. Because I'm at the point where it's like I have enough deployed that I need to have deployed. I'll be ready for Pearl Harbor next turn. once I move the Zuikaku carrier over here. Maybe getting 1 or 2 special forces more out at sea, and I will pretty much be ready to start all of this. We're not trying to focus on the Pacific. We're trying to spread it around, and we have so many special forces that it would actually be difficult to just operate with all of them at once with our current MPP amount. But we'll figure that out next time. For now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.